Hey y'all, it's Akira, Part-2 Love United. What is going on? Today, we're talking confidence.
She knows exactly what she wants, and she knows exactly what she deserves, and it makes them boys nervous.
Before we get started, if you've never seen my face, hi, I'm Akira, nice to meet you. I have a brand called Truth and Love United. I believe that you cannot operate the way God wants you to do in one without the other. If you love somebody, you gotta tell them the truth. If you're telling the truth to somebody, do it with love. So, today is part 1 to my confidence series. If you follow me on TikTok, if you're TikTok fan, let me know in the comments. If you follow me on TikTok, then you know that I talked a couple days ago about wanting to start a series on confidence. And what I want to do is just talk about different aspects of confidence, or talk about, you know, different areas where I've developed my confidence and things like that. For example, one that I got a lot is body confidence. How did I become so comfortable in my skin? That's one I will do, not today, but that is one I will do. Another one I got is how am I confident as a woman versus, I guess, when I deal with men, things like that. That's another one I saw. So that will be a video for another week. Today though, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my personal confidence journey. So when we talk about those other things, like, you kind of know like where I'm coming from. So growing up, I feel like I'm about to just tell my whole life story. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible because y'all know the kid is long-winded. So growing up, I was not confident. Now that's not due to my mom. My mom tried her best to, you know, you're so pretty, you're so smart, da, da, da. Like, she tried. Because I was a child and I was a kid, I allowed outside forces to dictate how I felt about myself. So I never feel like I was particularly smart. I never feel like I was particularly pretty. I always feel like I was just regular, like, man, you know what I'm saying? And so I had very low self-esteem growing up. I don't remember a time of really feeling like I liked myself, that I always felt, I never felt good enough. And if we're being completely honest, every now and then those feelings still creep up, just in the interest of full disclosure, because I don't think it's something you ever fully let go of. I don't think it's something if you've ever dealt with those type of feelings, I don't think it's ever like, never again do I ever feel like I feel bomb all the time. That's unrealistic. Like, at least, you know, for me, it's unrealistic. I do have most days I'm good, and yes, but growing up, that was not a thing. I never went through the phase of thinking boys were ugly. Never went through that phase. So like, I always had little boys I thought were cute or whatever, but growing up, it wasn't a lot of boys. I can't remember liking a lot of boys until, not a lot, but I can't remember specifically liking boys until I was a little bit older. Now, I mean, I like celebrities. My very first crush was Slater from Saved by the Bell. Some of y'all might be too young for that. And then it was Usher. I used to be in love with Usher before, you know. Anyway, don't matter. I used to be in love with Usher. So like, I always had crushes on boys, but I never felt good enough, felt pretty enough, all of that stuff, right? And some of that might have to do with my skin color a little bit. A lot of it had to do with when I was in 8th grade, I had to have surgery on both of my legs, and I gained a lot of weight from not being active, and I never really figured out how to get comfortable in that space. So that made me feel away too. So it was just a lot of different things playing a part into why I didn't have confidence. When I was about 8th or 9th grade, boys started to like me a little bit more. And the worst thing you can do is to try to be in a relationship as much as you can be in high school when you have low self-esteem, especially if it's someone who is manipulative and all of that stuff. Because I definitely would let boys say things to me that now you could never say to me, because I had low self-esteem, because I was not confident. I had acne, but I mean, let's keep it a buck. I still get acne sometimes. I don't know if y'all can see this little bump I got popping right here. Like, every night I still get acne. I had really bad scars on my arm. So like, I don't know, I don't really have them but so much anymore, but I remember I had broke out real bad on my arms. I would wear long sleeves all the time. Like, I was just severely insecure and severely not confident at all. And, you know, boys started liking me, and that started to help a little bit. But the problem with that is, when the foundation of your confidence is someone else's opinion, when they take it away, your confidence shatters. And that's what happened multiple times. Because I was broken and I was trying to figure stuff out, but I really couldn't, I allowed these boys' opinions to mold and shape how I viewed myself. So when the time came for, or not when the time came, but when life would happen and it would fall apart, I would fall apart. And I went through very dark times, all of that stuff. Like, I went through a lot of that. To be fair, the dudes that I'm talking about, a lot of them were towards the beginning of my high school situation. Towards the end, I had started picking a little bit better. The guy that I dated by the time, like, I was a senior, we were complicated, but he was a little bit better when it came to that type of stuff. But I still wasn't confident. In my head, confidence was, you don't care what nobody say, you like yourself, this and this and that. But the thing was, I didn't like well, I'm not gonna say I didn't like myself. I think it's more so I didn't know who I was. It's easier to deal with, or to help your friends and everyone else deal with their stuff, as opposed to dealing with your own stuff. I had a very hard time in my personal life in high school. Like, just growing up the way we grew up was very hard. So because it was that way, it didn't even occur to me that the reason that I'm feeling some type of way also has to deal with that. And maybe one day I'll get into I'll kind of go into detail about that, but it won't be today. It won't be today. So I graduated high school and I'm still kind of like, I mean, I'm starting to get more comfortable in my skin. I don't know why one day it just clicked, because to me, my mom is one of the most beautiful women on the planet, period. Like, I think my mom is gorgeous. And for years, I have heard people say, you look like your mother, you look just like your mother, da da. Like, I might insert a picture, like, you look just like your mother. And one day it just hit me, like, you ever look at yourself in the mirror, but like really look, like stop and look, like not look at your reflection, but like look at yourself. I don't know how to explain it. One day I actually looked at myself though, and I was just like, you're not ugly, sis. So why do you feel ugly? You're not ugly. And I can remember clear as day the day that I did that, and I burst out in tears. And then after I did that, I clearly remember saying to myself, you can't keep thinking this way about yourself. One day I was in the house by myself and I got completely naked. Took off my clothes and everything was just hanging, right? And I got a notebook and I wrote down every single thing I didn't like about myself. Every single thing. I said, some of the things I remember, like I said, my forehead was too big. I didn't like that I had hair on my knuckles. Obviously, I didn't like that I had a gut back then. I didn't like my face. Like, I didn't like how I looked like a child at all times. I still look like a kid. I didn't like my back arms. Like, I literally went through every single thing that physically I did not like about myself. Then I went through and I thought about all the characteristics of my personality, and I wrote the things that I didn't like. And it was funny because I wrote all these things down, but I couldn't bring myself to write down, I don't like that I don't like myself. Like, I don't like that I'm insecure. I didn't like that I'm not confident. Like, I couldn't bring myself to write it down. And I remember writing it really small at the end. And then I forced myself to write it bigger, because it's like, no, if these are things that I want to change, I have to acknowledge it. Like, I have to say these words out loud first. And so slowly I started going through the list. Well, after I wrote the list, I prayed over the list. Now, this was around the time I was still fairly new. I'm sorry if y'all hear fireworks. I'm recording at night, and I don't know if y'all know they've been doing like fireworks ever since whenever they've been doing fireworks every night. I don't know what that is. But anyway, I separated after I wrote my list of physically the things I didn't like, any like characteristics about my personality that I didn't like. I separated it by things I could change and things I couldn't change. Now, obviously, like for example, like obviously I can't change the shape of my forehead. Like it's just a thing that I'm gonna have to learn how to accept. I didn't like my natural hair. So I forced myself to start doing styles where I would have to wear like things like that. So after I separated the list by things I could change and things I couldn't change, this was the beginning of me on my own trying to have a relationship with him, like not through somebody else, you know what I'm saying? So I prayed over this list and I'm like, Lord, show me how I can change these things. Like, show me what I can do. I started reading the Bible about what God said about me. Like, who, based on me being his daughter, what does he say about me? And Proverbs 31 woman like kept coming up. And so I remember consistently wanting to model or trying to implement like those things into my life. And I remember, it's funny, I remember me and my best friend at one point had a dance. We were dancing together, like, because I'm a praise dancer at my church, and she at the time was too. And I remember me and her were thinking about naming ourselves like Virtuous Women, Proud Birth 31 Women, something like that, like having a little name for our ministry or whatever. And somebody being like, I don't think you should name yourself that because that's not you. I remember in that moment feeling like, am I a fraud? I'm a visual person, so to me it felt like I saw that word as a bullet coming at the foundation of the confidence that I had built. Because think about, up until this point, I'm studying my word, I'm really learning who I am in God. I'm learning that when my confidence foundation is built on who he tells me I am versus who these boys tell me I am, who I try to make myself out to be. Another part is, after I got over like trying to build my confidence on what boys liked, I tried to build my confidence on what I thought I wanted to be. So the girls that were popular were like the video girls. So I want to have a big butt, I want to have hips, I want to do this, I want to look a certain way. And because I didn't fit that, it didn't help. Like, my emotions and my feelings about myself went up and down like a roller coaster, because I couldn't fit into the box that I was trying to force myself in because of these unrealistic standards. Now, I'm not blaming nobody, that's just where I was, and that's just what it was, you know what I'm saying? But once I started gaining my relationship with God, once he started showing me who I was in him and who I could be, he showed me that there was so much freedom in me just being myself. Me taking the time to actually figure out who I was. What did I like? What I didn't like? God showed me, he showed me the potential that I had. He showed me all the things that he wanted to do with me if I could just let go. Not all the things, but he showed me the beginning stages and steps of what I could do if I would just let go. Y'all gotta understand, anyone in my real life will tell you, me doing these videos helps build my confidence, because I am not a talker like this. I don't like talking in front of people. I don't like putting myself out there for critique. I don't have a problem with constructive criticism, but when I'm being vulnerable, when I'm being open, when I'm being transparent, it's extremely hard for me. But I do it every week, not only because I believe it's part of the platform that God has given me to use, but it's because I really want people to know that you're not by yourself. Like, I know I have finally settled into who I am, and my confidence just naturally illuminates out. That's God. Like, it's not me. And it's because I took the time with God to figure out exactly who I was, to be comfortable in the skin that I'm in, and to love the things that I love about myself, and the things, because we always grow, so there are some things that still need to be tweaked, and I'm working on those things, and I submit myself to God, and I give my flesh to God and all that stuff. My confidence did not really start to grow until I got into God. And I know everyone don't believe in God, but that's just where my confidence stems from. Once my confidence grew and I became more secure in myself and secure in who Akira was, and more confident and stable in my mindset about myself, the way I moved throughout the world changed. And when the way I moved throughout the world changed, it forced everybody around me to change. Now, in some of those relationships, it was an easy shift because they loved me regardless, and they were like, okay, you growing, you change, okay, cool. Now, in other relationships, it was some static because they were used to me allowing them to disrespect me, allowing them to talk to me crazy, allowing them to just be whatever. And I started to set boundaries. I started to put up, not walls, but yeah, I guess boundaries is the right word. I started to put up boundaries, like, no, you don't get to talk to me that way. No, you don't get to treat me that way. And I lost a few people in my life, which, looking back, I don't regret, but in the moment it was very hard because you become accustomed to having certain things in your life. You become accustomed to having certain people around. But when you grow, you are like, well, why wouldn't you want me to be confident? Why wouldn't you want me to love myself? Why wouldn't you want me, in the moment you think these things, but then you realize, like, no, you liked me when I was a puppet. You liked me when you can control me. That ain't the thing no more, boo. Now, I will say, like, this is taking years. So I started my confidence journey, I would say probably, like, realistically taking it serious around 1920. I didn't become fully secure, confident like basis, like secure confidence, I would say at least till 24, 25. And then even from, because I'm 30 now, so from 25 to 30, I'm still learning things about myself. I'm still picking at the things that need to change. I'm still evolving in certain areas, you know what I'm saying? But my foundation is set because it's in God, and you know God ain't changing. He's solid. He a rock, period. So I hope you guys found this part 1 helpful. Next week I'll start going into the different parts. I'll go more in depth about my body confidence and how I'm secure in the skin with all these rolls, gut, butt, and hips and cellulite and all that stuff. We'll talk more about that. I'm not gonna keep you guys long. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on TikTok. If you are a TikTok fan or Instagram fan, make sure you let me know down in the comments. Please also make sure you subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. If you guys have any questions or anything that you want me to address as far as this confidence series, make sure you also let me know down in the comments. Also, if you ever want to reach out, talk, whatever, that good stuff, slide in the DM. The kid is always open. My email address is also down below. So this is Post Editing Key. I forgot to mention I'm also a part of a podcast. It's called Everything and Nothing That I Do with my friend Jonathan. I will have the link for all of that down in the description box. But yeah, every Friday we release a new podcast. We just started, so I think we only just did our 3rd episode, so you're not too far behind. So go ahead, click the link down in the description box and get caught up. So yeah, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all always rock with the kid, and I appreciate it. Oh, also, I want to show y'all something. If you follow me on TikTok, which you should, you already seen it, but I'm so excited because my buttons came. Look. So I'm one step. I don't know if you, hold on. Can you see it? Can you focus? Hold on. Can it focus? No. There we go. There you go. There you go. So I'm very, very excited because the kid got a little bit of merch situation popping. So we'll see how, you know, I'm still working on it, but that's just one of the things that came, and I was really, really excited about it, so I wanted to share. But I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And like I always say, as long as you're running your race at God's pace, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And the dope thing about God is that he will use even those insecurities, even your lack of confidence, all of that stuff. He'll, once you gain it, he turns it around for your glory. Because I promise you, I wouldn't be able to have these conversations if I hadn't gone through what I've gone through. I wouldn't be able to have these conversations with y'all. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.
Know that girl can make everything